Everybody, this is Perch, and here's a question about legends in comics. As you know, I have a passion for seeing more legends in comics, mostly because, comics has this very weird experience. It's not like wrestling. It's not like other forms of sports where, people do get older and then it's hard for them to, compete at the same level. So it's like, can Peyton Manning go out there and just, be the quarterback for a team again? Well, probably not. At this age, probably not. But it would be nice if he could. But things do wear down. Well, in a lot of cases with comics, yes, people get older and it's harder to draw and everything else. But a lot of them still have it. They still have it because they're still hiring them to do variant covers and other things. So it's a little bit of a mystery why you can't have them do a comic once in a while. No, it's just that the editors kind of get in their heads like, well, person's old now, so moving on. And it's that I hate that. So here's a mail from a listener. It says, "Hey, Perch, wondering if you're able to consider a video highlighting why DC isn't doing series with veterans like Marvel, such as Peter David's Maestro Symbiote Spider-Man and Genisville series Mars and Limb, The Rons, Silver Surfer, Rebirth, and X-Men Legends. Also, perhaps worth flagging is why Marvel doesn't consider these initiatives. Doesn't consider initiatives like it's either. All right, so sorry, I'm reading the sentences. Also, perhaps worth flagging is why Marvel doesn't consider initiatives like its earlier Nuff Said, the highlights of which were John Romita Jr.'s Amazing Spider-Man, Incredible Hulk, and Frank Quietly's New X-Men, and DC follow them to generate new interest. Okay, so that last one, the Nuff Said, this is where basically for a month, not all the comics did it. Actually, I think back in the 80s, I think all the comics did it for a month. I think. I may be wrong about that. But basically, a number of comics basically had no words. They said, hey, this month, screw the letters. You get no cash from us. And they basically do the entire comic book with kind of visual storytelling. And there's some really cool issues. Yeah, that Frank Quietly, New X-Men, this was Grant Morrison Quietly, and it was they go into Professor X's head and discover, that's where they discover that Sandra Nova was kind of the twin that got murdered in the womb. And anyway, it was a good comic. Now, a better one goes back further, and all of like two of you will know it. So please pop up in the comments if you're one of these people. But they did a Snake Eyes G.I. Joe issue. I think it was Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow, and it was badass. I think Larry Hama and I want to say Zek was on art, but I may have that completely wrong. But anyway, it was a G.I. Joe issue and had no words, and it rocked. It was a great G.I. Joe issue, and absolutely loved that one. And just the visual storytelling of the whole thing was great. And love that comic. One of the best ones, better than the Frank Quietly. It was just such a good comic. But that's what the Nuff Said was. Basically, Nuff Said means don't say anymore. Enough said. See, enough said. That's anyway. But why don't? So I'll answer the question kind of back to front. Why don't why didn't DC copy this and do Enough Said of their own? I mean, I don't know. For a while, I think there's probably some pride in it, where if Marvel did it, DC didn't want to copy it. But in the 90s, both companies just started copying each other with all kinds of crap, meaning kind of variant covers and trading cards and bags and all kinds of crazy shit. They copied each other all over the place. So I don't know if that's a factor anymore. But they should. I think that it's funny when Marvel did the Nuff Said issues, the more recent version, the one that with the Quietly issue. I remember people complaining, both in my store and online, that this was a gimmick, like it's a trashy gimmick, and they people were saying that. But then in hindsight, I'd love more of that. I mean, that's the kind of gimmick I'm into. A way to actually tell the story differently, do it through art, do something kind of unique and creative. That's a great gimmick. More of those. I'll take that any day of the week. I think the gimmicks that suck and that I like less of are the gimmicks where it's like, hey, we've got 500 variant covers. Who doesn't want that? Or how about an event that promises that nothing will ever be the same again ever in the history of the universe, so you better buy this thing. How about we get rid of those gimmicks and we actually start rehashing the no words? That'd be great. Um, so to the other question, why doesn't DC hire legends or hire people who've done stuff in the past to do comics? Yeah, I don't know. You know the reason. The reason is that nobody is pitching DC at that. There's definitely not a creator or a couple creators who are pitching DC with ideas that involve legends doing the comic. Definitely nobody is doing that. That's the whole problem, is nobody is doing it. I can promise you that all of them, Jim Lee and Marie Javins and Ben Abernathy and all those guys, they're sitting by the phone just waiting. If only some creator, if only more than one, if only several creators would just pitch them this idea, they would be all over it. But sadly, not a one is pitching them this idea. Um, anyway, it's funny. There's some confused people out there. There's some people who get the sarcasm out there, and there's a handful of very pissed off people right now. Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. I definitely think DC should do that. I think it'd be real. I think there's plenty of people ready and willing to work. Take what I said, take the sarcastic thing I said and flip it around. There are definitely creators sitting by the phone who would be absolutely thrilled to do some stuff. And here's an idea for DC. I'll toss this one out for free. Don't do a limited series. Don't do what Marvel's doing with Peter David and the Maestro and all the rest. Keep giving Peter David money. He needs it. Please do that. But no, DC. I want you in 2023. Okay, so it's you're already into 2023, so it's a little late, but start this summer. So May, June. You got to hustle. I want you to say we're bringing back the DC annual. Okay, the basically one issue, double sized. Okay, 44 pages. Let's do that. 48 pages, and it's an annual. It's going to cost more. So this thing's going to cost, I don't know, in today's prices, what, like $62? I don't know, like $5.95, $5.99, $6.99, something like that. And what I want is I don't want you to release all the annuals in 1 month. That would be stupid. What I want you to do is pick 12 comics, just 12. 12 of your comics. Do probably a Batman, Detective, Superman, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Suicide Squad. I don't know. Keep a couple of. That's 7. Got to come up with 5 more. You can do it. Earn your check. So I want you to pick 12 comics, and then I want you to announce. You can do it on social media rather than announce the stupid round robin 3. I want you to announce that you are going to bring back DC annuals, and you are going to do this. It's going to be a prestige. We're gonna truly change what it means to do an annual. And so what's going to happen is that you're going to go and you're going to find classic legendary creators, and you're going to hire them to do one issue. That's it. Not an ongoing, one issue. So this gets you around the problem of saying, well, does Walt Simonson really want to do a monthly book? Probably not. But will he do one issue? Pay him? Well, sure he would. So I want you to go grab Luis and Walt Simonson and say, hey, we want you to do an annual for Green Lantern. And you will, we're going to release it in, say, October. So October, kind of like what you're doing with Batman One Bad Day, once a month, you're going to release an annual, and you're going to kind of redefine what an annual means. Once upon a time, once a year, the companies would put out annuals, and they got kind of fancy with it. Marvel did events through the annuals, like you had Atlantis, you had the Evolutionary War, and then you had the Serpent Crown. Was that what it was? Anyway, the Atlantis Serpent Crown one. Anyway, basically that's it. So just do, but you're going to redefine it, and you're going to forever change what it means to have an annual. You're going to do one annual a year for 12 comics. You're going to hire classic legendary creators to do them, and you're going to put it out, and you're going to pat yourself on the back and feel good about it, because you're going to give these legendary classic creators a paycheck and a chance to get their name out there and everything else. You're not going to overburden them, because they're only doing one issue and it's one and done, and there you go. You don't even have to worry about anything beyond that. And on top of that, you're going to stagger it, so you don't put them all out in the same month. That would be stupid. You're gonna have it out so once a month there's going to be an annual for one of these characters. And what you're going to do is it's going to be great because you're going to get the people who are collecting, say, Green Lantern, will buy the Green Lantern annual because they want to be completionists. They want to have everything Green Lantern, so they're going to buy that issue. So you got that audience built in. And then you're also going to get a bunch of new people buying Green Lantern who like Walt Simonson. And so in this comic, get him to do 42 pages. But it's a 48-page book. So in the other 6 pages, I want you to spend a little bit of time making some really great marketing material. Say, hey, if you just read that Green Lantern and loved the book, here's what's going on in the Green Lantern regular series, and post a couple panels there and like the story thus far. And it's like, if you came over here because you really wanted to see Walt Simonson, thank you. And now maybe you want to start collecting Green Lantern. Now you've gotten a taste of that character, and here's what's going on in the regular comic you can pick up. And here's like, scan this QR code, and it's going to take you right to the digital download page, and you can get right on this thing. Do that. And all you have to do is one a month, put it out. This is how you do a number of things. You give classic creators a paycheck. That's good. You make some money. You bring in a new audience to books they're not currently reading. And most importantly, you get to have the bragging rights of basically telling Marvel, you guys have half-assed it. You put out an annual just kind of randomly, it feels like, whenever you sort of remember that you could do that. You put out an annual, but it doesn't have shit to do with shit. So we forever made it so that the annual is basically, it's a prestige creative team that you haven't seen for a while. And, it'd be nice. I mean, I was going to say you could do like Scott Snyder and Jim Lee do an annual. But that wouldn't count because it's not a team you have seen for a while. But actually, that is a team you haven't seen for a while. Neither one of them done a comic at DC for a bit. So, but regardless, put some classic creators on there, make some money, charge a premium, get some extra attention to the books, get some bragging rights that you're doing something Marvel isn't doing. It becomes an original idea for you. And, you don't break the bank by putting them all out at once. You stagger them out through the year. So every month there's a special annual. And by the way, if you do this and you even do some trade dress that keep them all consistent, like you don't need to do a shared story, but just put some kind of visual on there. You'll get people coming into the store who want all the annuals. You'll get people in there who'll be like, whoa, wait a minute. You mean some classic kind of legendary creators are putting out a comic? I want that. So people go into their comic shop and they'll sign up for, put me down for all the annuals on their pull list. And if you charge like $6, for each of these, that's $72 you just made in a year. This is a no-brainer of an idea for you. Anyway, take it, go with it, run with it. Thank you very much for the mail. That's my answer. Yeah, let's see some more classic creators on this. That would be wonderful. And thanks for listening.